Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. One of the things I would like to think that you would agree with, now that we've got, maybe the microbiology wasn't so boring, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, plants, I would agree are certainly boring. But we're moving on from that. We're going to start talking about parts of the animal kingdom. So, how we go about doing that is, okay, so how we go about doing this is we start about halfway through the animal kingdom.
Put it up, Ty.
So then, if we were to begin categorizing, because that's what we're talking about, classification. If we were to start categorizing the animal kingdom, the most basic way to split the animal kingdom up might be what? Animals that have this and animals that do not have this. That's correct. So what we mean by that is when we talk about categorizing, okay, so football, yes. So football or baseball, pick one of the two. Okay. So then what we mean by categorizing, when we talk about Major League Baseball, we categorize that into two parts of Major League Baseball. Do we know what they are? But that would include well, you're getting closer. That would include the minors. That's not part of this. So it used to be that teams had a designated hitter and teams that did not have a designated hitter. I know that rule has changed. Now you can have someone bat for your pitcher no matter what team you play for. Okay? Maybe we're not quite following. So, well, no. Okay? So we're talking about the Minnesota Twins. Which league are they in?
Major League.
Well, yeah, I know.
Major League Baseball.
Conference? Now you're getting closer.
I don't know football or baseball very well.
I bet it's one of them things to where you know the answer, you just don't know you know.
Yeah.
Okay? So what might that stand for? No. Okay, so we switch to football. Okay. Okay, how do you categorize all the football teams of all 32? You have the American Football Conference, which you would also have the American League in baseball. Then you have the National Football Conference or the National League in baseball. Then you can break this down even further, the NFC. How would you do that? Okay, so then now if you're writing this down, fine, but you don't need to be doing this. Okay, so we know we got NFC East. Okay, then you have NFC North. Okay, NFC South, and then of course you have NFC West. Okay, you do the same thing for the AFC. Then you can break this down even further. You can break this down even further to the individual teams that belong in that division. Okay, so we categorize animals in like a similar fashion, like what you would with different types of sports, whether it's baseball or football. Okay, so if we're talking about the animal kingdom, that's Animalia, because we just wrapped up doing parts of the plant kingdom, which is, of course, Plantae. We did parts of the bacterial kingdoms, Eubacteria, Probacteria. Those are different domains and kingdoms of single-celled organisms. But when we categorize the animal kingdom, it is a division like this and like this. What did we say what they were earlier? Okay, so we have invertebrates. No, not yet. Then we have vertebrates over here. Okay, so when we think of arthropods, which side of this diagram would they go on? Those are invertebrates, but that's correct. But why are you right? Because they don't have a backbone. That's one good way to look at it. So now, when we start talking about vertebrates, or excuse me, invertebrates, now you can start talking about many different types of phylums, which might be like sponges. Who's after sponges? Just an animal. Yeah. Yeah. Jellyfish, those are cnidarians. Okay. Then who might we have talked about after the cnidarians? Like who are squids and yeah, those are mollusks, but we'll go ahead and put a nautiloid here. Okay. Then after the mollusks is when we start talking about the arthropods. Okay. Now, for our for our purposes in here, we're not going to be going through all of this content. We're just more focused in the phylum Arthropoda. Okay? So then, now that we've somewhat categorized that, what comes to mind when we mention arthropods? What might that be? And so I know we have to live through the construction. All the other classes, they've been just fine. Okay? So, sorry. Okay? So, who might an arthropod be then? I would anticipate you can name 3 different types of arthropods. And once you think of one, then they're all going to fall into place. Just yes. Okay, that's too specific. Nope, those are vertebrates. Unless you're talking about crayfish. That's what you're thinking. So if you're going to say that they are what, I'm not going to say those are crustaceans, which are arthropods. Okay, so how about 2 more? 2 different types of arthropods. Yeah. Say that again. Scorpions. That's right. Did you say bugs? Yeah, bugs are insects. So there's your 3. We mentioned you've got crayfish, you got spiders, scorpions, insects. You could say horseshoe crab. You could say lobster, king crabs. You could mention centipedes, millipedes. All of those are different types of arthropods that are in the natural world. Not all found in this area. Well, of course, spiders are, but many different types of species of these animals are not. Okay, so moving forward then, okay, so why do some of these animals belong in the phylum Arthropoda? And this would be some of the reasons why. And it goes in spurts where there's drilling into the concrete, then it stops. You got it down. successful. So this is one of those characteristics because up until now, a lot of the animals that we would talk about are all aquatic. Okay? Because we talk about nautiloids, we talk about jellyfish, sponges. Those are all animals that you would find in sometimes freshwater, but mainly marine or saltwater. So what I want you to think about, this is an invertebrate characteristic. So what would the opposite be of an exoskeleton, do you think? And us as humans and mammals, birds, fish, they all have something in common. They've got an endoskeleton. So now that you've made that correlation, how does an endoskeleton differ from an exoskeleton? And where it's found is going to be the major characteristic. Which one's found inside? The endoskeleton. So which one grows with the animal? That's a trick question. The more logical answer is an endoskeleton, but in all actuality, an exoskeleton can grow with the animal because they have to shed their outer skeleton from time to time. So would we say both? Yeah, there's an argument for that, but yes, an endoskeleton would be better because for those of you who do take anatomy and physiology, do you know how many bones are approximately found in the human body?
217.
That's pretty close. 206. Okay. 213. Those are two accepted values. Okay. Because what happens is that grows with the individual. Okay. How come what varies? I think it has to deal with the bone right above your tailbone, your sacrum. Some people might visualize that as six individual bones rather than one, or seven individual bones instead of three. Okay. All right. So let's see. So I just want to get down to here. Okay. So what is any type of insect? Notice I didn't say spider. What is one type of insect that you say, I hope I do not ever see something like, and maybe it's any insect. I hope you don't see anything like that. I think cicadas is maybe a fairly common answer. Does anyone know what a cicada is? Well, it's an insect. And they're very loud because they rub their wings together. It's typically something that you would hear in maybe August and September, and it's something that has a high pitched sound to it, and then that's the type of sound that cicadas make, and it's not just one, but it's a whole group of them. Okay, but to me, it's probably because these insects are about can be 3 inches long. So you look down on your arm and you see a type of insect that's about 3 inches long crawling on your arm. What do you do? I'm just curious. What do you do? Nothing, or you swat it? Okay. But then what happens when all the internal organs and juices are now on your arm? Then you swat it. Oh, I thought you meant. Okay. Because otherwise, for anybody else, when they look at insects, they want to step on them. And once you do that, there's one thing that probably resonates with everybody who has ever stepped on an insect, except for flies and mosquitoes. But beetles is probably the best example. What happens when you step on a beetle? You hear a crunch, okay? Because that crunch sound that you hear is this structure that's inside of that exoskeleton. It's a protein matrix that makes up their exoskeleton, just like with our endoskeleton. Okay, there's different types of proteins, like collagen is one of them. Okay, that you find inside your skeletal system. Okay, so again, protein is a very common, let's say, material that you find in the animal kingdom. Okay, so what I want you to focus on now we'll start tomorrow with other different types of characteristics. So we can see two of them here. So last semester, how many characteristics were there for one? Remember? Three. No, more. Just one more. There's 6 characteristics that we talked about in zoology about why they're so successful. So we got 2 of them, okay? And one of them is this segmentation, okay? Otherwise, when you look at other soft-bodied animals, they really don't have this type of segmentation because they've got limbs that attach to the central body. You could make an argument, yes, squid and octopods, you could say, yes, they do have probably some form of segmentation. Okay, so for the rest of the time, I'm going to have to write this down, okay? And you can get a head start on this. So I'm just going to write this in here. Okay? Spider drawing. Okay, and then that would be the 28. So 2/28. I understand some of your on, that's fine. Do work on your drawing and just hand it in sometime next week. Okay, not only just draw the spider because that's a start. Okay, so then what we want you to do is label these different parts that you would see on an arachnid / spider. Okay, because when you look at page 4, some of those vocab terms are found there. You're going to see a structure called cephalothorax. You're going to see other types of vocabulary terms like, I think, pedipalps, cephalothorax is on there. I think page 4 on your handout. Okay. You should see abdomen on there, walking legs. So what we're looking for, some of you, I think, are very talented artists, and this is maybe how you can correlate this even better. This is something that we do every year, okay? So this is not just unique to this class, okay? This is something that we have done, again, every year. We're just not trying to give you any sort of busy work. So there's different types of characteristics that you would have for any type of spider. So what might that be? When you think of a spider, what type of characteristics might resonate in your mind? Exactly. So how many? No. 8 legs. Okay. So then there's other types of appendages that branch off of this animal. This is one. This is another one. Okay. So these are also different types of appendage. You could say specifically there are 12 appendages that you would find branching off of a spider. So what you can do, I thought maybe we'd do some reading today, but with that construction going on. It's probably just really, really annoying. So you can look at page 766. That's got a picture of a spider. Okay, 764. Actually have a type of species of tarantula. It looks like it's gone through molting. Okay, so you can do that. Or for those of you who have a computer out, all you need to do is type in arachnid or spider or something to that effect, and you can just go to a type of search engine probably. Yes. It doesn't have to be a tarantula, a black widow, okay? Just any type of spider because we're looking at them like this. Okay? Like I said, black widow spiders, different ones like this. You actually find recluse spiders in South Dakota. Okay, we don't find any of these, but there are wolf spiders around here. So then, if you want to do, okay, I like the idea of black widows because those are one of the four dangerous, okay, dangerous spiders that you find within the class arachnids because, or arachnids, sorry, because they are highly venomous to humans. And that's why you would say there's their characteristic black widow because they've got that hourglass on it. Again, you're not just limited to that. This just gives you a bigger characteristic where you can see its walking legs here. As we go back. This one doesn't. Okay, maybe you want to do wolf spider. I know. Again, those you find around here. Again, you see a lot of these. This is a mother who's just given birth, I believe, because it's got lots of spiders crawling on her. Okay, maybe you like this one. Okay, again, that's that wolf spider. Okay. So then there's lots of options that you have. And if you were to ever spend any time in Iraq or Afghanistan, you could do something like this.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to see something a little larger. And this is something that circled around the internet thinking that this was one large creature, but this is real. This is one camel spider who was actually eating another camel spider. Okay, that's what I said. Maybe if you know someone who spent time in Afghanistan, Iraq, I think this was in Iraq. There was a friend of mine who actually was around when that picture was taken. Explained to me that yes, that is actually one camel spider starting to eat another, and that's what you can see on here. So obviously this is overseas. You can see the different type of camel uniforms on there. So if you want to do that, that's fine. Okay. So any type of spider, one that you find on these pages or what you find on the internet. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay, so keep in mind, just says spider drawing, February 28th. So you have time now. You have time probably tomorrow, and some of you are leaving. I believe, is there an event tomorrow at 3? For some reason, I think that that's accurate. Okay, so then Wednesday is a shortened class period because it's the last Wednesday of the month. So keep that in mind as you're planning out your week. Yes. Black Widow. So then, while we have this up, okay, so this is what we're talking about here. Here are the fangs that you see on this spider. Okay, so then you have the 8 walking legs, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side, 4 on that side. has to. I don't know if it's one where you need to. Is there a specific one? This one, this one, this one, that one?
Probably the one that's the web when it's on the web, like
This one
that.
here?
Yeah, that one.
I don't know what this will do. So you can actually see parts of its fangs here, not very big, but they're certainly there. So, arachnids, whether you, that's a vague term, because if we knew more about this, how many different types of arachnids are there, Mr. Zoology? You have ticks and mice, spiders and scorpions. Those are all considered arachnids, but they all have characteristics that make them different as well. So you can see the fangs here. It got two body segments. Okay. So what's your that's what's expected for you as we move forward. That is the list. I will go ahead and shut this down. So then, well, at least do this for just a moment. So I'll give you a few minutes and then you can copy this list down and put that back up. So we'll catch up to you next time.